Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. What's up, Instagram? You guys know the drill. Hang out for a couple minutes. Maybe let some people pop on. I'm going to take these off. I'm never going to learn. I can't wear them on here. How's everybody doing today? It's beautiful outside. Spring is definitely here. These nice, warm, sunny, beautiful days. We're talking about malas today, so you might notice, I think the background kind of changes a lot, but we're in a different place than we've been, at least the last couple of weeks. So this is my little yoga corner. If you take yoga classes with me, this doesn't look so different. But this is my little yoga meditation space corner. So since we're talking about malas today, it just seemed fitting to be here. I'm actually gonna just tilt you guys down a little bit. That's better. Now you can actually see the mala, since this is what we're talking about, right? So if you don't know, malas are necklaces, right? If you're familiar with rosaries, this might be pretty similar to that. So this is what we're going to learn all about today. So last week I posted this mala actually that I made. It's the first one that I made like on my own, hand knotted. I have another one that I'm going to show you and tell you that I made. But this is the first one that I hand knotted and made. So when I shared this last week, I had someone comment and say, hey, that's really beautiful, but like, what's a mala? Can maybe you do one of your videos about it? So I said, of course we can do that. So here we are. So let's get into this. So malas have become pretty popular. You might see them as jewelry, right? They're kind of all over the place. They're made with all of these beautiful gemstones in different colors and crystals. And they're all really beautiful. Some of them have tassels on the bottom. Some of them have little medallions or big stones like this on the bottom. So they can get pretty creative and pretty amazing. But they're not just beautiful jewelry. So, they can be worn every day or, with just, as an accessory with your jewelry, but usually what they carry some sort of intention, and they're used as a meditation tool and as part of your meditation practice. So this is where I said, like, if you're familiar with rosary beads, it's the closest connection I can make since I grew up in that kind of faith. Use them in prayer and things. So same thing with mala beads. And traditionally they're made out of natural materials like wood and seeds. A lot of times you'll see traditional malas made out of things like sandalwood or tulsi beads or bodhi seeds. And all of those materials have different sacred meanings. We could do we could do a whole wellness off the mat video on tulsi beads and on sandalwood and what it means. So I'm gonna keep it easy, I think, today, not get too crazy with anything. But all of those woods do have, sacred meanings and different things, just like all the gemstones that you see on malas. The different crystals have different meanings and represent different things. Those different woods and stuff are the same thing. And, once upon a time, that's what they had to work with. So, these things have been around for thousands of years and used by people. So that is a little bit about some of the materials that they're made out of. But let's talk a little bit about like the anatomy of a mala. So I'm gonna grab this one because it's pretty traditional. So this is one of the first malas I bought myself, actually. And it's got sandalwood beads. I'm pretty sure it's fluorite and some amethyst. I have the card somewhere that says what's on it, and it's got a tassel. So that's why I'm saying it's pretty traditional, is it's got the 108 beads, a tassel, and a guru bead. So these are kind of some of the things you're going to see normally. And 108 beads, 108 is something that we hear all the time in yoga, right? We do 108 sun salutations for the solstice and for the new year. 108 is a very auspicious number in yoga. It has a lot of different meanings. That's another one of those things we could do a whole wellness off the mat on, right, is 108. one of the representations of 108 is energy lines in the body that come to the heart, and one of those is said to connect to the divine. So there's a lot of reasons why there's 108 beads on our mala, and you can go, we can talk about that another time. So 108 beads on the mala, right? We're getting back to our anatomy of the mala. I'm trying not to get sidetracked. I've made notes here so I can stay on topic for you guys. So we've got 108 beads on the mala, and then we have a guru bead on the mala. And this is the 109th bead. This is not a bead that we use in our meditation. So it's kind of like the start and stop point of our mala. So when you meditate, you go around one side, do the mantra 108 times. When you get back to the guru bead, you go back around to the beginning. The guru bead represents the teacher. So, it's said that we don't cross our teacher, right? And it kind of holds our intentions and our mantra. So there's reasons why like that bead is special and it's not counted. It's the 109th bead. So, and you'll see that bead as different things, right? Sometimes it's bigger. It might show up as a different kind of bead. Maybe if it's all gemstones, maybe that bead is wood. On this one, it does happen to be wood. This is a mix of both. A lot of times it's a larger bead. On this particular mala, it happens to be the same size, but it's also, you can tell, positions at the kind of the bottom, right? The gems kind of come to a point and that bead is there. So here's a mala with a larger bead. So you can see like that guru bead is much more obvious. So if you're using this in meditation, as you're going around the beads, when you get to this one, you really know it's the guru bead. So, so that is the next part of our mala. So we've got 108 beads. We've got a guru bead as our 109th bead. And then traditionally malas are hand knotted. So I'm going to pop up again here so you can kind of see. There are little knots or spaces between each of the beads. And there's some practical reasons for this. It keeps your mala from falling apart. So if your mala falls apart at some point in between the beads, all the other beads are knotted and they're going to stay together. So you're not going to lose it, and you can actually restring the mala if you want. So practically speaking, they serve a purpose. But also they maintain a space between the beads to kind of protect the beads, and they make it a little bit easier to meditate feeling between the beads. So sometimes you'll see malas where the beads are just strung on, or they put little spacers in between, and those can be a little bit harder to use in meditation because there isn't that gap between the beads. So again, practically speaking, it makes it a little bit more comfortable as you're working around the necklace, using each bead for meditation, having that space. And then the knot is, they represent strength and the link between, like the divine link between all things, right? Is it's kind of knotting and tying everything together. So, as you can see already, as we're moving through each piece of this is way more than just a piece of jewelry, right? So last up, and the reason I picked up this mala again, as I said, traditionally they have a tassel on the bottom. So that has some meaning also. So a lot of times now that we see them more in jewelry and things, we see different symbols and emblems. And again, those may have different meanings. Maybe you have certain stones that are going to mean something for an intention you're using the mala for, or a certain symbol that is meaningful to you or the specific necklace or mala, the meditation that you use it for. So you can get really, really personal with these and do different things with them. But the tassel represents some specific things, and traditionally it's part of the mala for those reasons. So when we're looking at the mala and the aspects really through like Hinduism and Buddhism and yoga, the tassel represents the roots of the lotus flower. And again, there's a lot of symbology with the lotus flower and the roots kind of going down into the mud and the struggle that represents, and then coming up and birthing to the sun. So there's that aspect of it. And then the individual strands are they're always moving, right? They have some movement to them. So it represents the constant flow of change always. So, and this is like a short version of trying to keep it not too overwhelming for you guys. You know, we try to make these little mini bites, right, for ourselves. So I'm sure that we could, again, do 15 minutes on just the meaning of having 108 beads. So there might be more. If you guys have other things that you know that it represents and means, feel free to, you know, type in a comment and share with us, because there are so many. So, you know, researching and learning as you go can bring more meaning to your mala and your practice with it. So that's what we're going to jump into next. So now you know the parts of the mala, what they are, a little bit about what they mean. So now, like, why, right? What do we use it for? And I kind of said something about saying something 108 times, right? So I'm going to rewind one time because I forgot a cool thing to say. Another perspective that you can kind of look at for the guru bead and the teacher bead is it can also represent the summer and winter solstice, when it kind of appears that the sun peaks and then reverses direction. So another way that we use the mala and are connected to the mala is connecting ourselves to the cycles of nature and all of that. And just kind of the bigger world around, right? Coming back to those knots representing tying everything together, kind of the same thing. So regardless, if your approach is a little bit more nature or a little bit more spiritual from the yoga perspective, you can kind of come to these from both ways. And I kind of appreciate and practice both myself. So those are two different ways you can kind of explore and play with this. So let's get back to now how we use our mala. So we're using our mala in meditation, right? That's why we're in our meditation space today. And don't get caught up in minutia of stuff, right? So I have a little table behind me and there's tarot cards and I've got some sage and some Palo Santo and some different cleansers and my crystal lamp and, you know, like I've got some stuff over here. You don't need any of that stuff, right? We talk about this all the time. Don't get caught up in like minutia and nonsense and like now you need to go buy a table and a salt lamp and you can't meditate until you do all of those things, because you don't need any of those things, right? A lot of my meditation does not happen in this necessary space. A lot of it does, but a lot of it doesn't. So great, wonderful, not a requirement. Our malas. When we're using our malas, we want to respect them, right? They are a connection to the divine, if you want to look at them that way, something bigger than you. It's holding your intention, things that you want to manifest. You know, if I say this with a lot of stuff, if we're going to imbue power on something, right? If this is a tool that I'm using in such a special way and in such a special practice, then I should give it the same reverence and respect that something of that magnitude deserves, right? So first up and foremost, we want to respect our malas. So we don't put them on the ground. I am sitting on the ground and you might see me picking them up from over here, but I have a little table set up over here, just like a little mini table for the malas so that they're not on the ground, because we don't want to put our malas on the ground. You know, the ground is where we walk. It's dirty. It's not sacred space, right? So keeping our malas up. A lot of times you will see folks who do japa meditation a lot have a bead bag. This is one that I made myself, actually. So my mala that I typically meditate with is in here. I'll show it to you guys. But you use a bag for meditation, and then the beads stay in the bag. Your hand goes in the bag, and then you don't have to worry about them coming into contact with anything, right? They're protected in your bead bag. And we'll talk about that in a second. So keeping the mala up, and we talked about the guru bead, right? We don't go by the guru bead. You can also kind of wrap it around your hand, keep it in your lap if you don't have a bead bag, right? Now, again, don't get caught up in minutia. You don't need this. It's just a thing. These practices are about intention, not about stuff. My teacher told me once, I forget where he was traveling somewhere or something, realized he didn't have a mala or whatever. He was mala-less. He made one with string and knotting it and making knots to represent the beads. you don't need, it's not about the thing, right? It's about our intention. So don't get caught up in the things. But when we have the things, we want to respect and use them properly. So starting at the guru bead, using your right hand, you're going to count the beads using your thumb and middle finger. You're not going to use your index finger. And you're going to slide up the beads, counting each bead and each mantra. So your mantra can be pretty personal. It can be an intention that you set for maybe this specific mala. I have quite a few here, so maybe you do different practices and different intentions with different malas, maybe depending on the stones or something. So again, your practice, very personal. So any mantra that you want, you can use. Less ego-centered, the better. we won't get too crazy into it. I don't want to like force a mantra on anybody, so it can just be something really personal to you, something that you're working on, an intention you want to set, or there are some spiritual mantras that are traditionally used that you can practice with also. If you are a yogi and following that kind of path, you could use your mantra, you could use your mala to chant Om. So you would chant Om on each bead, then move to the next, Om, move to the next, Om, move to the next, 108 times, all the way around your mala. And then you decide how many rounds you want to do. Again, there are different, we can talk about a lot of things with that, but you decide. For now, let's just make this your practice. So you decide how many rounds you want to do. Maybe you're going to do 1 round. So when you get to your guru bead, you're done. Or maybe you're going to do 2 rounds. So that means when you get all the way around your mala and you've chanted your mantra 108 times and you get back to that guru bead. Now, if you're going to do 2 rounds, you're going to turn around, not cross the guru bead, and go back around 108 times until you get back to the guru bead, and then you completed your 2nd round. And again, there are rules, there are different traditions. Some people, if they lose their mantra, if they lose count, they start over. They don't count the round. You might be happy to just pick back up and come back to your meditation. Mantra meditation can be very helpful to keep your focus, right? So if you find that your mind really wanders and you have a hard time just sitting in meditation, maybe you don't really like guided meditation, this might be a practice that really works for you. And using a mantra just helps give you something to stay focused on. A lot of times in our yoga practice, we talk about staying focused on the breath, right? That inhale, exhale, that almost acts as a mantra in and of itself. Or you're saying inhale, exhale, and it actually is kind of like a mantra throughout your practice, right? So same thing, it helps just kind of keep your focus, give you this point to come back to. And trust me, you will lose it, right? 108 is a lot of times to say something. In Bhakti, the tradition of yoga that I follow, we practice with the Maha mantra. And my bead bag contains my Tulsi bead mala that was given to me by my yoga teachers when I did my yoga teacher training. And I learned the Maha mantra with this mala. So this is the one that I traditionally meditate with, and it's the mala that I use the most. It's just very simple Tulsi beads, guru beads. They're all the same size, hand knotted with an orange tassel. And again, that I usually keep in my bead bag. A lot of times I like walking meditation, so I'll take it with me walking. The bag makes it really easy, kind of just tied up to your wrist a little bit and do that. So you start yourself off with your guru bead. Hand goes in the bag. And remember I said middle finger and thumb, right? So in the bag, your index finger stays out of the bag to keep it out of the way. And then your beads are just in the bag. So it makes it really easy. You don't have to like kind of hold on to it, and you're not going to like drop it, because again, 108 beads is kind of a lot, especially if you have a larger beaded mala. So then it makes it really easy to just kind of keep going through your practice, and the beads just kind of hang out in the bag. So again, just a tool. You can also put a counter on them so that you can keep track if you do more than one round. But again, tools, right? You can knot up a piece of string, and that's a mala, and you can count your mantra on there. So I think that's everything I wanted to tell you guys. So it's a little bit of the history, how they're made, how we use them, what they're for, and I think that's all I got for you guys. So happy Wednesday. And like I mentioned in the beginning, this came together because I posted a mala last week and somebody was like, hey, that's really cool. What's that? So if I ever post anything or there's ever anything you want to know about and you'd love to see on a wellness off the mat video, just tell me, drop me a comment on a post or send me a message and be like, hey, I want to know more about that. Let's do a wellness off the mat video for it. Or just let's talk about it more, and we can do that. So I'm happy to take your suggestions. These are for you guys after all. So let me know what you want to learn about and we'll do that. Otherwise, that's our mala video. And stay tuned for more in-depth workshops on how to make a mala, because we're going to put some kits together and do that. And that'll be lots of fun. And if you have no desire to hand knot 108 beads and make a mala, but you just want to buy one, you could do that too. So I will see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, this beautiful, beautiful day. And I'm going to go, I think, head outside for a walk. Class tomorrow at 4 if you want to join for some yoga. There's no class on Saturday, so don't forget that. And I think that's all I've got for you guys. So, mwah, goodbye, my loves. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you all next week. Bye, guys.